ماذا يدوثون إخوة وأخوات؟ السلام عليكم، أنا اسمي سبتربان، تشرفت بمعرفتك ومرحبا بكم في سبتربان City. Even Sina Avenues, episode 49. You know what it is, you know what it was, and you know what it's going to be. It's going to be, well, it was going to be the first episode ever, as I said last week, but now it's going to be one of the last, actually, as we're really closing in on the map, as you're seeing right here. And this is probably the last major urban area that's going to at least attempt to rival Septerpan South, which we of course did in episode 41, where I assume most of you got acquainted with my material. So let's see if I can pull it off again, huh? I hope you're gonna like it. I got a whole bunch of Arabic songs in here. We got some nice stuff going on. It was really hard to find the music, actually, by the way, but I think it works out. Let me know what you think. It's got some nice spiciness to it. Not all that generic stuff. Some pop music, some rap. We got it all. Calm down. It's gonna be okay. Right now, we're starting here on the main part of the city. That is quite the eye catcher, just as a geographical thing. Besides just the sand, which again last week I said it's unique. You don't really get that anywhere else in Septerpan City on the salt pan, the namesake, of course, of our finalizing city here of Septerpan. And Septerpan, of course, in the logo you can see there's Arabic script. It's all been predetermined. But you might be wondering, Septerpan, first of all, you're super hyperactive right now. Are you okay? You did take your medicine? I wanted to just say, because that's besides the point. Episode 41, there's canals, okay? What's so special about this one? This one doesn't even intersect. I say stop right there. Stop right there. Do you remember the first episode, the Ogive portal that I talked about? Oh yeah, you see it. You see it right here, don't you? That Ogive portal, that Bawaba, that door frame, Duru Frami. I wonder where they got that from. But look, I love this theme. I was planning on it for so long. I love Islamic architecture. It looks so cool. Just the idea of mathematics, which was taken from the Greeks and expanded to explain like the complexity, the incomprehensibility, the infinity of God when you look at patterns in geometry. Oh, what a noble thing. Christianity doesn't really have anything like it until they started copying mosques and built Gothic cathedrals. Where do you think those domes came from? Well, the domes were of course made by the Greeks, and then the Muslims took them over, and the towers were of course taken by the Chinese, and then the portals were from India, and then Islam has a lot of good stuff like algebra. That's not good, but al-Jibr from Restoration by our great man Al-Khwarizmi. Hey, mathematics, it's really important. So let's take a look at how finicky I'm gonna do this. Rania Kuti. Okay, so I said that I wanted to use the Great Lighthouse of Alexandria way back in, what was it? St. Laurentius East, I think, and I wanted to put it there originally at the mouth of the river. That was not gonna happen. It just did not blend in whatsoever. Why? Because, well, St. Laurentius doesn't really have all that many tall buildings, especially not skyscrapers, and nothing in an old enough style to make this blend in. So what was my reason for putting it here? Well, with my whole Arab thing, it kind of refers to very late Dark Age material to early Renaissance-esque period, which, hey, remember the Greek shit? They kept that in lock, so thanks to the Arabs for keeping all the Greek texts so that we can have the beautiful things like the Renaissance and the Age of Enlightenment. Shame that you didn't keep it for yourself so you could have that, but hey, Mongolians, Seljuk, Turks, everybody invades. I get it. It's hard to read books. But yeah, anyway, I wanted to put it here because I was thinking of the extravagance that you sometimes see in the Arab world, particularly the Emirates and Saudi Arabia, that you just have these really kind of odd buildings. And what would be crazier than to have an old world wonder like the Great Lighthouse of Alexandria right here in Avicenna Avenue? So I definitely wanted to have it. It's a great model that I, again, have seen nobody use, and it just irks me that there's such assets out there that just nobody takes advantage of, because they're a little out of the ordinary, really, and that's a shame. So then I start looking for other towers that I might be able to use in order to make it feel at least somewhat sticking in. So I kind of took the law of thirds, having three really large towers on either side of the bank. They're distant from each other so that you have different curvature all along the head of the phallic canal here, which so that they both look roughly the same size from a distance. If you're standing somewhere on the front bridge, it's just right there, right next to that white research facility. Should be anyway. It will be there soon, possibly in 20 minutes, but that's okay. It's a long video. So yeah, they look sort of similar. You get different curvature due to the roads, and just it adds a little bit of dynamism, again, trying to stick away from the grids while still maintaining somewhat of an urban character. 20 minutes? I meant 1 minute. I lied. I'm sorry. Man, it's been a while. I've been working really long on this video, so sorry that I'm forgetting. I'm sort of like doing this entire area, the Avicenna Avenues, in different little parts, so that I can kind of dilly-dally up the work. I'm trying to scope out how these towers look from afar, and that's why I have these scenes. Plus, you get to see it at night, because it's kind of difficult to see what the hell I'm doing when I'm working at night, and there's no sunlight. I get it. It's hard to see. So yeah, just checking it out, making sure that everything is pleasing to my eyes, that nothing's like in front of each other, so that all the towers have the same amount of prominence and kind of work together in a really cool dynamic in the composition of the city. Just cool things. Later on, we're going to add way more towers. There's actually going to be a tower that's going to rival, there we go. It's going to rival the tallest tower, the Pyramid Tower in Satrapan South. I think it's maybe just a little bit longer, but it's a little bit lower on the island, so they're just about as tall. And I like to imagine that there's some sort of rivalry between Avicenna Avenues and Satrapan South, like who can build the biggest tower, kind of like countries do. Another song.
يا أسد الله يا حمزة يا رافع راي العزة في أحد أرض الأمجاد قاتلت قتال الأسد وأذقت القوم الأوغاد رعبا وكأنك هزة يا أسد الله يا حمزة يا رافع راي العزة في أحد أرض الأمجاد قاتلت قتال الأسد وأذقت القوم الأوغاد رعبا وكأنك هزة أسد الله يا حمزة بين الشهداء الأبرار أنت السيد يا مغوار يا عم الهادي المختار أسد الله يا حمزة بين الشهداء الأبرار أنت السيد يا مغوار يا عم الهادي المختار أسد الله يا حمزة أسد الله يا حمزة يا أسد الله يا حمزة يا رافع راي العزة في أحد أرض الأمجاد قاتلت قتال الأسد وأذقت القوم الأوغاد رعبا في جيش الأبطال، سد في وجه الأهوال، في إقبال في استبسال. أسد الله أيا حمزة، بطل في جيش الأبطال، سد في وجه الأهوال، في إقبال في استبسال. أسد الله أيا حمزة، يا أسد الله يا حمزة، يا رافع راي العزة، في أحد أرض الأمجاد قاتلت قتال الآساد، وأذقت القوم الأوغاد رعبا وكأنك هزة. أسد الله يا حمزة. قد كنت وصولا للأرحام، وعطوفا ترعى الأيتام. قد كنت وصولا للأرحام، وعطوفا ترعى الأيتام. فمن الحب عليك سلام، أسد الله أيا حمزة. فمن الحب عليك سلام، أسد الله أيا حمزة، يا أسد الله.
You know, because Avicenna has such a unique character in the city itself, I didn't want to make it feel very barren. And even though that I've already gone through many buildings, many skyscrapers, in fact, kind of the tallest that I really wanted to keep in Saint-Tropez South, though that's kind of being challenged now with that new giant railway tower. Again, nobody uses it. It's crazy. It looks great. I mean, I admit, it looks really silly. It looks really odd. But if you, in this kind of jet setter type of mentality that you would see in, let's say, a place like Abu Dhabi or Dubai, you know, it kind of fits in. But as I was saying, you know, because the area is so unique from the other parts, I don't feel like it's enough for me to just say, you know, there's sand, so that's it. You know, or just put a couple of interesting roads in here, just like the canal. It's not enough for me. I want it to really stick out so people actually want to go there and say, oh yeah, you know, this building and that building, that's something that I've been looking forward to. That's why I came to Saint-Tropez City. I mean, it's such a crazy area. I mean, you know, these towers already help, but it's not enough. Again, Avicenna Avenues, when it comes to Al Jahiz, has the zoo in it. There's the really big aquarium on the the southern bank of Avicenna Avenues, right next to the Space Museum, which, man, I love that thing. It actually kind of sticks out like a minaret if you see it from the highway, the big one with all the lights from Al Jahiz. It just feels really magical. It feels almost like it's an impossible task to build in such an area geographically, but you know, you try to fill it up. And one thing that I could not miss was to have a unique mosque. So what did I pick? I picked the Taj Mahal right there, and it fits so beautifully because, again, with the shape of the portals, it kind of works both ways, where it's kind of like a keyhole, and the Taj Mahal is kind of like the key in the keyhole, where the keyhole is the giant gap in that building. So they really lock into each other extremely well. Here you see me trying to line them up so that they don't necessarily look completely straight, because again, that would not look very realistic, but just have them at such a line where it actually feels like, again, the Axis Historique, which is like the major line from Paris I mentioned in the first video as well, where you can actually see not most, but a lot of major monuments from the Louvre. You can see the Arc de Triomphe, the l'obélisque from La Place de la Concorde, La Grande Arche in La Défense, all just from viewing from one line. So I kind of wanted to have something similar here when people are driving through. Of course, they're going to notice that giant portal building. They're going to say, what the hell is that? So they're going to walk in front of it, take a couple of pictures, and then they look on the you know, just behind it, like what's in that hole? Well, that's the mosque, don't you see? Yeah, didn't think about that now, did you? And just it invites the eye to keep looking for new things and to really spruce up the area. Again, the Taj Mahal actually being a mausoleum for a great Mughal emperor in India, not really a mosque, but hey, it's got the shape. I mean, they built it in the shape of a mosque, so I might as well make it into a full-fledged mosque. And it looks absolutely grandiose. And again, nobody is really using the model. So again, I got something unique going here, I think, with this Arab theme. There's just so many buildings that work so extremely well. Especially love the lights in that giant tower because it's orange, which is really uncommon. You usually get blue and yellow. By the way, if you notice that I put down the Figueroa, the one with the blue lights at top, that was a mistake. Somehow it got removed out of Sutterpan South. I'll replace it later with another tower from the Emirates, but it's going to be a long while, so don't get too distracted by that. Man, I could use a drink. Can we have a rap song?
ما تخليش حد يقولك عيش حياتك بالشكل ده ايوه هو كده علشان كده ما تقوليش ازاي اعيش ما تفكيش ما بخليش حاجه تشغل راسي هو كده بعيش ماشي يوم بيومه بشمسه بغيومه بافراحه بهمومه بتلاقي يوم طاير زي فراشه يوم تقيل زي الصوت كلها كوابيس اتعدت احلام اتهدت طرقات اتسدت كل الالوان اسودت مفيش حاجه من نفسها بتجدد كل اللي بيحصل اللي بيروح كلها علامات جروح تروح الروح بصوت مطروح مجروح طالما هتروح مظبوط ولا مش مظبوط مبسوط او مش مبسوط هتموت مفيش مفر من انت حر في اختيار المر موت نرجع تاني بالراحه واحده نشوف اللي بيحصل مره واحده نلاقي الحقيقه واضحه ظاهره عايزه خطوه واحده تكون بجراءه عرض وطول واقف في وش المجهول خليك كده على طول وافضل فاكر انت المسؤول عيش في حياتك عيش في حياتي انت في حالك انا في حواراتي والموضوع كالاتي ما تقوليش ازاي اعيش حياتي
مكتوب في الرساله ان فيها خليفه ما اتولدتش عشان استنى لحظه موت الغيها الحياه موجوده لسبب في سبب لوجودي فيها بقى مفيش خوف من مجهول في اي خطوه همشيها المشاعر على الاراده غلبت دلوقتي المشاعر في كل نظرياتنا غابت مبدا بائد على الكل عائد صعب انك تحاول تعود خليته انطلاقات المستقبل محدش مني التالت قاعد فبقى ليه فؤاد وفائد واللي اتعود يكروت الخلق من غير خلق واخلاقهم بتتعود ودي حاله بتحصل لما سرعه زمانك بتفوت بتبطأ بالقلب بتنطق في ردود فعلك بتزود نفسيتك واللي حواليك بتموت وتستقر على ان اللي يجيبه ربنا حلو وبرج الدرو يحب الدرو بص ببصرك وبصيرتك ازاي صرت من علو هرب وتم تشغيله حاجه برنامج تم تحميله فعدل زاويه رؤيتك وجهتك لفرص تنقذك تنقلك تخلي حاجاتك تبدا تشم دنيتك صدق ان مفيش حد مجرد عادي الا لما تسمح لعادي انه يخليك مجرد حد لك مكتوب في الرساله ان فيها خليفه ما اتولدتش عشان استنى لحظه موت الغيها الحياة موجودة لسبب في سبب لوجودي فيها بقى مفيش خوف من مجهول في أي خطوة همشيها
Roll another one up now. Everything in this place going upside down. Interstellar with this letter to my daughter. How they threw the future away, they just blew it away. It was red, white, black. I saw the eagle rise, and they brought the devil back right before my eyes. Divide everything except the pie. I testify we were left to die, but the fire's still alive. I would die for my life. I almost lost my religion, cause in my REM state it was all dead children. But the mind held me right with the right of my life.
ادي فرصة لنفسك في يوم انها تكون اطلع من الصندوق وسابق بقية الكون ابني هدف حقيقي قصاد الصعب يطول البلد مش هتعلى الا بينا فيلا قوم ادي فرصة لنفسك في يوم انها تكون اطلع من الصندوق وسابق بقية الكون ابني هدف حقيقي قصاد الصعب يطول البلد مش هتعلى الا بينا فيلا قوم.
So, yeah, we got a new cathedral in, and it seems to fit the trend of non-Western cathedrals. Of course, I could have just picked any cathedral, just a Western cathedral. I could have used the Canterbury one, which I decided to use in the Isle of Assembly. But I did not want to do that. Actually, that's the Thrift, the Isle of Assembly. Well, never mind, it's all technicalities. But you might be wondering, well, yeah, I can see that it doesn't look like the Bishop Canterbury Cathedral, but the bishopric. But why? What's the difference there? Well, of course, that building takes a lot of examples from sort of the English Gothic style, which it's very nice. I like it a lot. But what do Eastern cathedrals base themselves off of? Well, usually it's the Greek style. I mentioned it before with the domes. One particular dome, like an early dome, is from Rome. Of course, the Pantheon, which is pagan in origin, of course. Now, this was kind of used in the Hagia Sophia. Of course, Constantinople, Istanbul today, of the Byzantine Empire, great capital, Hagia Sophia, an amazing building, and an amazing dome. So amazing, in fact, that I believe it collapsed 2 times. But it's really impressive, and people at the time knew it was impressive. I think it's built somewhere in the 6th century by Justinian. It's an amazing monument, and it's completely the symbol now even for Turkey, which is odd because Turkey is not Christian and it's a cathedral. Well, here we go again. That's interesting, isn't it? The building that you saw me put down just now, well, not just now, but then the cathedral that I just put down is based off of the Moscow Cathedral for Archangel Michael. And what's so interesting about Moscow? Well, Moscow was kind of late to the whole Christianity game when it came to conversions, and one of the most important, people that came there were Greeks. For instance, let's take a look at Kirill, or Cyril to us, and the Cyrillian script. He was a monk. He went to the Slavs, probably Bulgarians, I think, and they couldn't read. They didn't have a written language, so he gave them a Greek-based script that the Russians still use to this very day. And other things that they took were architectural stylings. But at the same time, they were also being influenced by Rome, so they kind of mixed these Western and Eastern styles. Now, Russia's kind of interesting in that regard because the building here, that Michael's Cathedral, Archangel Michael's Cathedral, I like that for several reasons, because it kind of uses a lot of color, which I think is kind of frivolous and flamboyant, but it actually was supposed to be more inspired by the Italian Renaissance, which I mentioned earlier with the whole Gothic cathedral styles, but it, didn't really fully want to accept it and preferred an Eastern style. So again, you see sort of that correlation between Islamic architecture and Christian architecture, where again, the dome from Greece, as you know, for the Eastern Europeans as well as the people in the Arab or Arabia, like I want to say Arabian Peninsula. I'm sorry about that, I stumbled. One of the most important areas is Greece. For a very long time, it's still seen as the successor of Rome, whereas for us in the West, we see the fall of Rome somewhere in the 6th century as well, like definitive end to the Roman Empire. The East still acknowledges the Roman Emperor of Constantinople, so they took a lot of those styles. So you see that interplay between those two religions actually being in the same tradition. And one important guy in Islam, or an angel rather, is Gabriel, who told Muhammad about God.
جد بلطفك يا إلهي من له زاد قليل مخلص بالصدق ياتي عند بابك يا جليل جد بلطفك يا إلهي من له زاد قليل مخلص بالصدق ياتي عند بابك يا جليل
ذنبه ذنب عظيم فاغفري الذنب العظيم إنه شخص غريب مذنب عبد ذليل ذنبه ذنب عظيم فاغفري الذنب العظيم إنه شخص غريب مذنب عبد ذليل ذنبه ذنب عظيم فاغفري الذنب العظيم إنه شخص غريب مذنب عبد ذليل
بالصدق ياتي عند بابك يا جليل جد بلطفك يا إلهي من له زاد قليل مخلص بالصدق ياتي عند بابك يا جليل
كيف حالي يا إلهي ليس لي خير الأعمال سوء أعمالي كثير زاد طاعتي قليل كيف حالي يا إلهي ليس لي خير الأعمال سوء أعمالي كثير زاد طاعتي قليل كيف حالي يا إلهي ليس لي خير الأعمال سوء أعمالي كثير زاد طاعتي قليل
مخلص بالصدق ياتي يا جليل
جد بلطفك يا إلهي من له زاد قليل قليل جد بلطفك يا
I don't know what it is about these songs, these nasheeds, these religious Islamic songs. Just, I love them. I mean, you know, the rap is cool, you know, it sounds cool, they really pull it off, you know, but I don't know, those nasheeds, they really calm me down. When I'm stressed, I sometimes listen to them just to calm down a little bit. They really seem to help. I hope my story about the relationship between Christian and Islamic architecture was interesting. Just this weird idea that we have in the West that the Roman Empire fell and that the Eastern Europe and Arabia still kind of kept this idea of the Roman Emperor being the one in Constantinople. That's why 1453, the fall of the Byzantine Empire, is so important to them. And I think there was one page on it in my history book when I was in school. It wasn't even mentioned in religious studies. Islam wasn't even mentioned in religious studies, now that I think of it. Man, my country sucks. But anyway, I thought it just really interesting. And I wanted to say something about the gardening as well. The gardening in... around the mosque that I built in the Taj Mahal mosque, the model being the Taj Mahal, of course. Gardening is one of the central arts in Islam. Like, it's very important to Islamic culture, just gardening, which is kind of odd because the people are from the desert, but I guess it's just an extremity, you know, it's like an extremity thing. Whereas Christian art is usually all about painting, not necessarily writing, because a lot of people are illiterate. People have to be told things by seeing things, so they usually just get paintings. But in the Middle East, everybody could read, because you're supposed to read the Holy Quran, so that you know that, you know, what God said to Muhammad, so you know what's actually being done, like if it's by law of God, you know. So I think that's interesting. So they don't have the need for a visual culture as much as the West does, and that's why it's kind of hard to find any kind of imagery in the Middle East. It doesn't really help either that the Middle East, or Islam rather, has this idea that images corrupt the message of words, which is kind of true in a way. I mean, people can get so lost in the idea of Jesus that they forget all about what Jesus actually said and did, or what his message was. It's just lip service at a certain point. It's just the idea gets lost. And I get that. It makes sense to me, but whatever. Let's stop talking about that. Gardening, look it up. Islamic gardening is like a major art form. It's pretty interesting. Like, I mentioned it in the Revolution game that I played last week as well, with the all sorts of fruits that we have from the Middle East, like the citrus fruit, which came from China, the peach, which came from China, but it is still named after Persia for some reason. It's just really interesting. I just love that stuff. It's great. Yeah, man. Arabs, the merchants of the world, and they had to, because they don't have anything else but metals. You can't eat those. So what you see here, let's finally talking about that. It's been 2 minutes. It's have you ever seen the Tour de France? Well, I hate it. I don't want to watch it ever, but I think this year it actually started at a place that looks exactly like this. I was in Paris just a couple of weeks ago on the 15th of August, and we went to, me and my friend, we went to the Museum of the Army in Les Invalides, La Musée de l'Armée. Absolutely fantastic museum. Got the tomb of Napoleon there and everything. Great person, extremely influential. You can thank him for all the constitutions, except of course the Americans who had the first one. But that's all right. You know, Napoleon had a really good relationship with the U.S. Hey, Louisiana Purchase, anybody? I need to stop talking about history. I can keep going on about this stuff forever, but I just love it. I really do. But this is based on Mont Saint-Michel, which is in Normandy, and it's absolutely beautiful. But I had a little twist, as always. I used another Orthodox church just to really give it its own little flavor, its own little unique thing, to have something going for it, because doesn't it deserve it? I think it does. It looks absolutely stunning at night. It's sort of in this weird shield-like form with these two ridges poking out. You'll see it from overhead. It looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. I like it. I like it. It's in a kind of central location. It blocks off Septerpan Island from Avicenna Avenue, so people in Septerpan Island, the island resort, don't necessarily always have the light pollution. I mean, they already have a lot of light pollution, but they don't necessarily get like completely confronted by all the lights from Avicenna Avenues, rather focusing on Scepter Land, which, hey, we want them to go there because that costs more money, right? Whatever business model. But I just like it, and again, it's in a really great location. Again, the Great Lighthouse is non-functional, but you could imagine that this might have been used as a lighthouse, at the Great Tower, really having a very important purpose. And it's kind of cool. I like that a lot. Actually, we could talk about that a little bit as well. You know, most churches nowadays, they have a central spire, thanks to Gothic cathedrals, because they were able to build in height. So instead of using the minarets like you know, the Taj Mahal that we've put down, or those towers that I mentioned when it comes to the Cathedral of Archangel Gabriel in game, but Michael in the real world. It's based on Michael's Archangel Michael's Cathedral anyway. instead of having it on the sides or just around the central dome, the churches kind of kept this basilica look that was very central to the Romans, but they couldn't build those kinds of towers that we have nowadays, or they had. They started developing around the year 1000 to 1400. So instead, what Western Europe did is have the central spire like you see in this church right here in the middle, even though this is sort of a neoclassical Americana kind of style. It doesn't matter because the layout is still exactly the same. So the idea there is that the spire is in the center, but that's actually the same idea. It's the minaret again. Because why? Why did they have that tower? You hear the bells. That's interesting, isn't it? You hear the bells. Islam was founded on this idea that there has to be somebody on top of a tower to call people to prayer, which is the adhan. You'll hear it all the time in movies, just like somebody going, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, and like he says it like 15 times, and then people go to prayer 5 times a day. Christianity had something similar, but they would do it every hour, which seems kind of incessant. But, all of that aside, the function of these towers, whether it is a minaret in a mosque, or, 1 out of 4, or just a central tower above the transept in a modern day or medieval cathedral, it's exactly the same. There's a guy somewhere up there in those towers. He's either saying, hey guys, come and pray, and be good people or whatnot. Or there's some guy who's just swinging on ropes, trying to ring a bell, like in Notre Dame, the Hunchback of the Notre Dame, which is great movie. I want to watch that again. Gotta write that down somewhere. But it's exactly the same thing. Or for example, let's talk about really crazy bells, which are the ones in Köln, in Germany. Western Germany. They have the biggest bells in the Western world. Okay, amazing bells, and these are engineering works of genius. It's fantastic. I mean, these bells have to sound harmonious because they play songs with them, kind of like singing in a way, really, but we just don't have the words. You see, this is the interesting thing. We need the 24-ton bell so that we get the message, like it's the church, because all European countries had different languages. We had Spanish, we had French, German, and then there's the local dialects. But in the Islamic world, because everybody has to read the same book, the Quran, the recitation, you have to recite the Quran. That's why it's called the Quran, the recitation. Everybody knows the same language. So it's, rather than having some bells, what the hell are these bells for? It's confusing. You actually have somebody saying God is great. Come on, let's worship. Let's be brothers in our faith. It's exactly the same purpose, but because everybody speaks the same language, at least to a graspable knowledge in order to understand the holy text that they have to recite, so they can remember what God actually said, so that the text cannot be corrupted, like Muslims claim that for the case of Christianity and the Jews and the Baha'i and etc., all the Abrahamic faiths. Everybody actually keeps in tow with this language, and you can have one guy just singing these words rather than having these weird ominous bells. What the hell are these bells for, right? So hey, that's kind of interesting. So it's sort of a similar tradition. But again, these bells in Köln are so big. I was there. I stood underneath the Sint Petersglocke, which is 24 tons. And it's broken now. It's from the 15th century, right around the time of the Black Death, when the Mongols invaded and brought all of the diseases from China, and machines so that we can cast iron, which thank you, China. So because now we can cast those bells as well as guns and machines that we need, because everybody's dead in Western Europe due to your diseases. But that's fine. It's not your fault. It's the fault of the Muslim. I didn't say that. But trade networks. Again, Islam, it's all about trade, and if everybody speaks the same language, it really helps. But so why I'm saying all of this is that I wanted to combine this idea of the tower, the lighthouse, the church, and the skyscraper in the same sort of tradition of really tall buildings. But let's have another song. How about that? Is that okay? See you in a second, man. Adding lights. Woo! So, yeah, here we are back again. Man, I love that song. That's great. A great song. Yeah, so as I was finishing off, as we are finishing off the video, just about 3/4 in, the cinematic shots upcoming in something like 2.5 minutes. You'll see, it'll be there. But yeah, let me finish off my thought there with the bringing together of these different types of functions that we still carry over from the past, from our history. It's really due to the construction methods that the Muslims found in their conquests, which are really kind of absurd. But the fact that they were able to create an empire that stretched from, let's say, Western India, sometimes even Bengal, even with the Mughal, with where the Taj Mahal is, of course, an Indian building, all the way to Morocco and Spain and Italy, some parts of Italy, like Sicily and all that stuff. But, you know, the fact that they had such a far reach allowed for so much technology, as well as diseases, to travel, and in a way, they kind of gave us the structures to build skyscrapers. They gave us the tools for the Enlightenment by keeping those Greek texts, and you know, it's really kind of interesting how important their effect is on modern day. On the modern day world. And that's not to say that everything of it is good, of course, but I do think that we really neglect the role of other civilizations, particularly non-Western, even the Eastern European ones, we really quite neglect. So what I wanted to do in this video, if you've noticed, because I've been talking about these subjects quite a bit now, is that I wanted to bring all of the world together. I have, of course, the Chinese wharf, which is way down in the south. It's a little further away. It's kind of outside of the tradition, if you want to put it in like a metaphorical or allegorical sense. But really, these Abrahamic faiths and these cultures that share this idea of Rome, the Byzantine Empire, whether or not they acknowledge them, like Eastern Europe and the Muslims, or they don't, like the West, they all live in the same sort of tradition with the same core beliefs. They all believe in the same God. It's just all different sorts of prophets, and everybody denies like the next one over. So, you know, that's why Christianity is called Al-Masiyah. in Arabic, the followers of the Messiah, Jesus Christ, who is a prophet, for crying out loud. He's just not the last prophet, which is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But let's not get into that religious divisionism, because this episode is really more about getting that understanding for the way that our civilizations have really quite inspired each other to become better, and that has benefited all of mankind. God bless.
واعرف منين وازاي وامتى اني هقابل واحد واحبه من طرف واحد، ومين بايدي كان اختار يوم يقابل مين. بحاول معاه ومعاه بجد مفيش نفع محاولة، وشايف انا لو نسيت اولى وهزعل ليه محدش عارف الخير فين. هعيش ازاي عشان واحد ما بيعيشنيش، لا مني معاه ولا انا عارفة ما كنش معاه، واضيع عليه سنين بعدين تيجي على مفيش. ده حب ازاي دي من الاول كانت معاناة. يفرق في ايه احساسي بيه عن احساسي بالوحدة، وانا شايفة النتيجة واحدة، لا انا لاقيها ولا عندي امل الاقيه. لو في نصيب بعدين في حاجة ليا انا هشوفها، هسيبها تيجي بظروفها، وانا سايبة عشان مفرضش نفسي عليه. هعيش ازاي عشان واحد ما بيعيشنيش، لا مني معاه ولا انا عارفة ما كنش معاه، واضيع عليه سنين بعدين تيجي على مفيش. ده حب ازاي دي من الاول كانت معاناة.
So peaceful. I feel so tranquil that it has pacified my soul of all sinful urges. See, that's the Christian side slipping in again. Guys, I want to thank you for watching. It's been quite a time, huh? It's been almost Yeah, there we go. 50 minutes and a half. There we go. I've been working on this video for like 2.5 days straight. I'm not gonna exaggerate. 2.5 days. I slept 4 hours today trying to get this video out. So some music would be nice. Thank you. That way I can maintain some positivity and energy for the rest of these remaining minutes of the video, and I can chat to you. Yeah, man, it's super cool that you're staying here for so long. But you know, it's this weird thing. Like, I never comment on anybody's videos, and people always say like, "Please comment, let me know what you think," and all that. You know, it's so phony almost. But because you guys like watch this for so long. I mean, you're here. I mean, it's been 51 minutes. I mean, what are you doing here, boy? Or girl? I use it. I don't discriminate. It's already a mess. But anyway, it's you know, because you watch it so long, I wonder like what is it that you think of? What's your opinion on the music? As I mentioned in the beginning, like, you thought it was good. Did you think it was kind of less than usual? Just let me know. Like, let me know what you like really think. That's really interesting, particularly when addressing the new series that's coming up, because yeah, I said it in the first part of the video, it's definitely coming to a close. There's not a lot of land that I got left to do anything with. Plus, if I keep going, my RAM is going to my RAM cards are going to light themselves on fire, and I'm going to be without a house. So, you know, it's got to die at some point, right? We're going to do a closer video. Don't worry about that. People have been asking about that. We're going to do that for sure. And I'm also going to make a montage of all the songs at the end, so that you can like go back and watch those videos if you don't want to watch the entire episode. I mean, I wouldn't want to watch the entire episode. I mean, hey, I'm going to be honest there. And I make the damn things. So yeah, so if you have any suggestions for the upcoming series, I would really, really like to know, like some themes, maybe a building that you saw in the Steam Workshop, just refer me to it, or show me a picture, like a link, anything would work. It would be just really great. But don't think that this is already the end of the series. This is not the last video. It's not the last video. We got 2 more to go, I believe, so don't worry about that. Really though, outside of all the game footage, like mano a mano, personal, thank you so much for watching.
Love.